What is going on, guys? Tuesday, November 15th. That's right. We are getting into fall. It's almost gobble gobble day. But hey, we got a great show for you tonight. Over the next hour, we're going to talk about some great things. We got Magic the Gathering. I'm not a big Magic the Gathering fan, but have a pretty good topic that I think, as McClay would say, applies to not just Magic the Gathering, but a lot of other trading cards as well. We also have some great Andor news. And I know McClay himself has been loving the X-Men Judgment Day and X-Men comic books. So we have some X-Men news to talk about as well. But before we get into that, let's bring people into the show. We have Mr. Beyond Wednesdays himself, Mr. Brian McClay.
What up, brother?
What's going on?
Chilling. Like a villain.
Missed a week. It was down in good old Disney World.
Yeah, man. That's not missing a week. That's having an excellent vacation with the fam.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it started the week hot and humid, and then of course Tropical Storm Nicole came through, but it was a good time. And family enjoyed it, broke, came back with a bunch of Disney goodies and Christmas decorations, but and I need a vacation from vacation.
Yes.
We also have Rhinoverse with us as always, Mr. Ryan Hayslip. What's going on, buddy?
What's shaking with the bacon? What's the hizzle on the pickle? What's the haps on the craps? Yo, congratulations. Major spoilers. Them old school skins put it down on them Eagles, eh?
Yeah, if you've been a Washington fan as long as I have, you don't get too high on those highs because you know the shoes about the
But if you watched Heineke yesterday, he was all about it, man. He just won the Super Bowl.
Yes, it was good seeing an NFC East rivalry, and they mess up that perfect season. I don't think they were gonna have a perfect season, anyways. But hey,
yeah,
it was a good win for Washington.
But for Washington to do that to them, that was so awesome for Washington, and you know that the Eagles were like, butt hurt on that one.
Yeah, but speaking of butt hurt. I'm just kidding. Let's bring in the button pusher, the producer, the man behind the scenes, Mr. Dad Joke, Mr. El Beardo, Mr. Comic Man, Andy.
Speaking of butt hurt, yeah, okay, nice, very nice. Yes, what's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. I'm excited. The crew is here. I'm really pumped. Brian Wood, brother, did you hear the one about the Egyptian pharaoh that farted every time he walked into a room?
No.
Yeah, they called him Tutankhamun.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. You have a good week.
every Tuesday.
That one's a stinker.
Welcome people into the chat. We got Mr. Cantankerous himself. Yes, Jason Aaron is coming to, I don't want to say my local comic book shop, but the local enough. I do have a Third Eye Comics here, but Jason Aaron is coming to the flagship store. So
awesome.
I have to look into that. Jason Aaron, definitely one of my favorite comic book writers. Huge fan of his Thor run. And of course, lots of other Avengers books and Marvel books. I like his independent writing better than his big two stuff, but definitely a big Jason Aaron fan. And like I said, hey, Magic the Gathering, do you guys collect Magic the Gathering at all? I've never been a big fan. I missed it. I'm not a big Pokemon card fan. My kid loves Pokemon cards, but Magic the Gathering cards are in the news, and Hasbro stock is down 5%, and they're saying a large part of that is because they are overproducing Magic the Gathering cards. And not only are they overproducing, but some of what they're producing is reprints of valuable out-of-print cards that people fear are devaluing those high-value original print cards.
Sounds like what's going on in both comics and sports cards right now. Wow.
Exactly. That's kind of what I want to talk about, because I know we're talking Magic the Gathering, but you could probably take key points from this and put it towards comics, put it towards baseball cards, football cards. I know we've had conversations about, the print runs, even soccer cards. I collect a lot of soccer cards, or football cards, as other countries call it. But yeah, and there's a lot of people pissed off there. I mean, they're saying that Fans online have expressed frustration with the set of inclusion of 4 booster packs for this Magic's 30th anniversary edition with a hefty $999 price tag. And the collection itself is marketed as limited edition, but contains reprints of rare, coveted cards like the Black Lotus, which collectors now fear will significantly diminish in value. And it should be noted that the players will not be able to use those 30th anniversary edition cards in sanctioned tournaments. So can't use those for the Magic Gathering players because it's not only trading cards, but it's a trading card game. But yeah, I mean, we can talk Magic Gathering, but I know this segues, as Mighty Mel V would say, into a lot of the trading and collectible space right now. I know, McClay, you were pretty perturbed over your case of Bowman. We've talked about it with Topps Baseball before. It's just a year ago, man, you couldn't find stuff on store shelves. Remember that? It's like Target stopped carrying it. They said it was over safety of the customer, but from an inside mouse that I've had that knew about Target said they weren't getting stuff from the vendors. Now we're getting the opposite. But
so this is, go ahead, McClay.
No, go for it, Andy.
This is like, seriously, some people in the chat or watching on the replay are gonna agree with me here. What's the date on this article? This is like, seriously, as a community, as a collecting community member, this is like the 4th time I've heard this come up with Magic the Gathering cards. I've been collecting and playing Magic the Gathering since Alpha and Beta. Yeah, totally. 100% nerd. My problem is I let go and sold off all my original set from when I was a kid, and I never should have. But every time I get that nostalgic hit, yes, let's buy a box. Let's crack a box. I love doing Magic the Gathering and Star Wars stuff, but Magic the Gathering, I always go back home. Every time I crack a box, I go to Friday Night Magic, my LCS or something like that, and I get back into this. There's another set out. I just got accustomed to the new set. What are we doing here? And there's another set out. This is a debate, not even really debate. This is an agreed discussion topic in my LCS for a long time now, and probably others as well, where they're pumping out more sets and more product every year than players really even want to try to absorb anymore. People have comfortable game styles. They like to be challenged, but when you're basically pumping out a major event every 3 months, roughly, I think it was like every 3 or 4 months, there's a major event coming out, and these boxes are hundreds of dollars, or you get these master sets. And I remember when they reprinted, I wish I could remember, they reprinted, and I was buying a box at a time, and it was one of those master sets, and it was expensive, and we kept pulling awesome reprints, and these new reprints coming out, immediately people were paying hundreds of dollars for, and then all of a sudden diminishing the value on the original stuff. I mean, short of like the original alpha stuff that people know what the original is, the original, and the people that have the money that are spending it are going to continue to keep that value there. But you're not wrong when this article is not wrong, where it does start to chip away over time. So why are they reprinting this again? A lot of people say cash grab. A lot of people say renewed interest, new people coming into the hobby. And it's just ultimately like, it looks like Hasbro's just trying to prop up what they have, or they're using what they had to continue to prop up these stock prices.
Do you think they're even aware of the collector market? I mean, of the collector crowd?
Oh yeah. It's the collector crowd, a lot of it, that is driving a lot of the sales.
There was even, because it references a CNBC article, and they were saying that they were actually kind of starting to overproducing, I think, to keep Hasbro, I'm not Hasbro afloat, but to help their bottom line and help their stock, where it ultimately hurt their stock with the 5% decrease.
Yeah, it's very short. It's very short-sighted of them.
Yeah, we're end of the year, right? Start figuring out ways to pad that number as much as you can. This is exactly what's happening in comics with variant covers. When we started seeing exclusive retailer exclusives, like where they reprint like the tough to find incentives from back in the day, like the Del Auto X23 or
the Lamole variants.
Yes. The Lamole Con reprints these variants, and then we started seeing all these reprints in the exclusive game. And how many times have Big Time Collectibles reprinted their foil version of a reprint of a reprint? You know what I mean? and it's devaluing each book before that. And this is exactly what's going to happen in comics very soon if something doesn't happen quickly, and the homages settle down, the 60 variants per book, settles down. And it's already happened in sports cards, and it's starting to get worse in sports cards because now we're finding out that the cheats are cheating. Like, the receipts are starting to come out on so many people in the sports card industry.
Do you think that Topps itself, or do you think Fanatics has something to do with that?
I
Do you
think it's
Fanatics
Panini.
is still too new to have gotten into that part of production?
I don't think Fanatics knows anything about it. I think it's all Panini right now. Panini and Topps, both of them, they pushed more product. They made mistakes because they had to hurry up and push more product. They added more variations to add more product in total so they could sell more packs and boxes, just like they add more variants each time. You know what I mean? Like, if there's ways that you can make extra money and they will sell, it will be done. And that's what's happening. It's very toxic, man. It is so toxic right now in the hobby industry. And we went from these such big highs to these lows are going to come. And I'm not talking about low prices. I'm talking about finding out that people that you really respected in the industry were stealing money, or people that you really respected in any way did something very bad. Like, those types of things are starting to happen because people are in hard times in their life. It's a tough world out there right now. And if you have to pay a bill sometimes and you got 7 kids and a family that you're feeding, people make wrong decisions. They figure out what boxes hold the best cards and they keep them from themselves, or they tell everybody, hey, let's create a group grading order and take your money and don't give it back to you. They go in on an exclusive variant with a ton of other people and take all the money and scoot town. That type of stuff is going to happen more and more often. We're already seeing it. Man, I hate to speak like this because it's so negative and toxic, man.
Yeah.
Well,
it's hard with to judge people. I won't say judge, it's not the proper word, but character and integrity, it's such 2 key character traits. Well,
yes.
Character is not really a character trait, but yeah, and it's hard. I mean,
integrity,
you never know what people are going through, and sometimes people get desperate, and it might be out of there are no warning signs, and it just happens, and you get screwed over.
Well, we've seen, like, there's been grumblings of that in the comic market for a while about how things are, that's going to be a replay of how it was in the 90s and so on and so forth. And, the card industry during the pandemic thing, it exploded, and people, that ended that part of collecting. I mean, I'm one of the ones. I was doing comics, and I just kind of got wanted to do something different. So I went over to cards because it was nostalgic for me, and I didn't mind because of my kids, but still I went over and started doing that. And I went over with the intent, like, oh, I can collect comics, but I can flip cards and make some money over there. Cause there was it was known as you can make money with cards and whatnot. So everyone kind of, when a lot of people went there with that specific idea, and the companies that are creating these cards were like, sure, you want, here, we'll give you all you want. You'll keep buying and keep doing whatever. But it's like they should have notes. They should understand, like, oh, in the past, when we did this happened. When we overproduced, remember when everything cratered back in the past? Well, if we do that again, it's gonna redo it again. It's not going to change. I mean, it's a historic. It happened. It's all these things that happened in the past. So you would think the notes would because if they critique, how much is being put out and what was being put out, it would keep it strong. It would keep it because it's the scarcity of the product that really that makes it more valuable. But if everyone's able to get the scarcity product, then it's not no more scarcity. It doesn't have any value to it.
You got it.
And so it's like they didn't learn from those, or the old dogs that are running these companies have since retired and moved on, and the new dogs are in trying to run these companies, and not really caring what happened in the past and think they have a great idea, which has already been done.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Right before COVID, you saw just trading cards in general just blow up. I mean, the freaking comic cards. It was like anything that had a trading card. People were going back. I remember at the time when I was buying soccer cards through like Blowout, they had like the old Lion King cards or Cinderella cards for Disney that you could buy like 3 boxes for like $8 a piece, and all of a sudden they were marked up for like $40 or $50, and people were buying them. I was just nuts.
Well, and it was, I remember that because I remember I was collecting books and stuff in comics and kind of had gotten back into it from my youth, and I remember thinking at some point I was watching, like I was like over here doing my comics and real proud of it. And then I see all these people over here doing all their cards, and they're like raking in money like crazy. And I'm like, did I pick the wrong lane? But then I went back to it. This is what I enjoy. So this is why I don't care what the lane is. I'm not in it for the money aspect. I'm in for the enjoyment of it. So that's why I was able to be confident in what I was doing. But a lot of folks were looking and jumped over. And you see that's where a lot of folks nowadays are jumping off ship, because they're like, this is not, I'm not making any money off this, or this is not quite lucrative like I thought I was going to be, blah, blah, blah. And they're pissed because they got this, and that happening. And it just goes back to, if you just do it for the right reasons, it's always going to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm curious if there's any other Magic the Gathering cards either in the chat or watching this on replay. Let us know your thoughts. I know one person, good old Nick Hart's a big Magic fan, so I'm curious to what his thoughts are on that.
Well, what's really interesting too is we kind of dip into this. Is I pulled up the Hasbro stock ticker, and where on there do you think where do you think COVID is in there?
Yeah, right there,
right in the biggest dip ever, because as COVID hit and trading cards kind of went up, what happened with Hasbro properties and Magic? The biggest portion of Magic sales religiously are almost always on Friday Night Magic at LCSs. So they got clipped really hard, and they've been chipping away, and they're still seeing a downward trend again, almost not mimicking earlier in 2020, but like, wow, they never really fully recovered, it seems like.
But that's the entire market, though. That's the only thing. You got to look at if you look at the entire market, it's that's the entire market. Its market hasn't recovered. I mean,
yeah, but as trading cards boosted, Magic the Gathering didn't boost Hasbro during that time. Is the parallel I'm making? Is kind of the line, or the point? Like, there's not a big massive spike in there during COVID or post COVID in 2020, unlike what maybe Topps or any of the other Panini or any of the other big trading card producers may have seen.
I'm looking at trailing off there on the end.
Hoard away. I mean, I still buy certain cards, but the soccer cards in general.
I mean, those things seem to be blowing up like crazy right now with all the World Cup stuff. All I hear is
and that's why I was investing in certain players, hoping with the World Cup coming. Of course, some of the players are injured and aren't making it, but it'll be anxious to see. I'm excited about the World Cup. I don't want to get into that with what we're talking about right now, but yeah, we are less than a week away from the World Cup starting. FIFA president regrets giving it to Qatar, but we'll see how it goes. But speaking of Qatar, that has nothing to do with it, but Star Wars.
And only like a week and a half away is this was really interesting. Andor is going on network television, ABC, streaming services like Hulu. Wow. Only the first 2 episodes will be available beyond Disney Plus, but this is still a big deal. Gizmodo says Disney wants you to watch Andor so much, it's putting it on network television and Hulu. Most people agree Andor is the best Star Wars anything since the first season of Mandalorian. It seems the powers to be over at Disney do as well, as the company will be making the first 2 episodes of the show free to watch on ABC, FX, and Freeform TV networks, as well as the other Disney-owned streaming service Hulu. And I've really got to ask you guys, for the life of me and my time on this world, all my days in this world, I've never heard of somebody sharing a property over to network television from a streaming service. Now, streaming services are still young, But have you guys ever heard of a company doing this?
Big mistake. Huge mistake, in my opinion. Massive mistake.
Yeah, because they had something. They had something about it. They had a
No.
There was
Why share those first 2 episodes? They were boring as hell. At least give us
the third
4
one
episodes.
was the third one's where I got really into it.
Yeah.
Though.
Why? What a joke. Those first 2 episodes were so boring.
But
at least give us 3 or 4.
To each their own, right? But
that kind of gets people started.
Might increase subscribers, but I was reading an article the other day that said out of the streaming giants between Netflix and Disney Plus, that they're making a huge mistake by doing the lower ad service for a lower price, because it devalues their stream, it devalues them as a company, because they're considered a brand. It's like Polo putting a lower brand version of calling it YOLO, I guess, and putting it out there in Walmart.
Hold on, can you kind of give me the cliff notes of what's happening there that you just described, or dumb it down for me a lot?
Yeah.
Like,
so
how are they devaluing their product?
There's an article, I think it was Motley Fool or one of those finance type sites, but saying that Netflix has been known as a streaming giant. Of course, there's other streamers that come up. Disney Plus, of course, is their brand, and there's a premium streaming service at their prices. And they're saying they're making a mistake by introducing lower tiered subscription with ad. Hey, you can pay less, but your stuff's going to have ads. And they're saying they shouldn't do that because they're a premium service, and it hurts their brand and devalues them as a company by offering a lower tiered service. Like, they're supposed to be premium, and you get, you're supposed to keep that premium price.
Have they done that? Is it guaranteed?
I think Disney either just started or is getting ready to start it, and I think Netflix has as well.
Ooh,
but they're doing something right, because Netflix's stock has been coming up like crazy against the headwinds of what's going on in the market.
Yeah, I'm not a stock person, I
well,
just thought that article was interesting because I can see it both ways. I mean, some people want to be able, they're going to jump at the chance to be able to get that service at a lower price. But I also see from that brand perspective where people think you're hurting the brand by making it, you're like selling yourself out, like you're devaluing yourself, I guess. But
yeah, but if you think about it, like, if there's those families out there that don't have the means to be able to get some, pay for all the services they want, and the kids services are not that this is kid service, but of course this is more of a kid based service that they're jumping, they're excited, they're like, man, they're just something right for us,
let's not forget that the people that have a challenge affording streaming services aren't going to pay for a lower tiered option. They're going to continue borrowing their friends or their aunts or their uncle's account or something like that. And that's where I'm wondering if those streaming services are going to combat that with
when Netflix did that.
The codes and the other thing, like when you do a bank account, it does like the second authentication or something like that. Like that.
I heard the Disney ad service subscription is going to be called Disney Minus.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And I gave a bad example about Polo because they do have a lower brand version. It's called Chaps.
Disney Minus. That was I forgot my sticks on that one.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
so an interesting point made by several people here tonight is Andor started out pretty slow. If they're using this as a lure to attract fish, I mean, this is a terrible analogy. I know not many people, I know myself, I grew up going fishing. You want to catch a big fish, you cast a big bait. And the first 2 episodes of Andor doesn't seem like a big enough bait to attract another 100 or 200,000 or 300 or 400,000 subscribers. I just don't think it's going to get them the reaction they want, because I love Andor, but those first 2 episodes were pretty slow. Maybe it's because I'm a massive Star Wars fan, and maybe what they have here, they've tested with new viewers and it tested so well that they've done this or decided to do this. But I'm kind of with some of you guys. This seems like a risky move, not a great move by Disney to, the ultimate goal is to gain subscribers, gain attention. So why put their paid for product out for free?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a great carrot to be dangling, but they're picking a good time to do it. I mean, what is it? Right before Thanksgiving is when it's happening?
Yeah, the first day or 2.
Yeah.
Oh, and in fact, actually, if voila, look at this old comic man, Andy. There's an article with the dates in it. Wednesday, November 23rd, 9 to 10:30 on ABC. Thursday, November 4th, 9 to 10:30 on FX. So through Thanksgiving. Freeform is Friday, November 25th, 9 to 10:30, and Hulu available from November 24th through December 7th.
Voila.
Man.
I'm anxious to see how this goes and if they do this with other shows as well.
We'll see, but it's just like how many people over the last 5 years ditched cable TV altogether and aren't even going to see the free.
I did, but I feel like I'm paying almost the same now between Netflix, Peacock, Paramount. And then I'm getting so. I'll tell you what, someone would be genius if they have come up with an app that find what you want and then just tells you exactly. Oh yeah, it's on this one, because none of them are very good at it. If you search on Amazon, half the time it's like doesn't show you exactly where, and you have to pay for it. And then you go and it's like, oh shit, well it's on this, and I have this app.
Well, yeah, there's like a paywall for a lot of that. This is why streaming communities within YouTube and TikTok and other free to view streaming services will still survive and still have a home and a place where people find their niche communities and make their friends, and we do shows like this where we talk about new, latest, and greatest things in the geekdom, in the fandom that they're fans of. That's why you'll always see like Star Wars Theory with millions of subscribers that's staying up to date in all the Star Wars news. You know, you get those sections and areas in the free streaming media services, YouTube, TikTok, IG, that will always continue to do well because they're not stuck behind a paywall.
Yeah.
But yeah, an app would be amazing too.
Do you think this was Kathleen Kennedy's idea?
I know.
McClay.
She needs to go fast. Well, listen, I don't know what to think about Star Wars right now because Andor got better, and we're gonna have some cool Star Wars stuff coming out. But they've definitely reeled me back in the comics world, and we'll get back more into that in new comics this week. But back to the comics world, X-Men finished up their recent arc, their huge story arc. And they're jumping into a new one. And the last one was pretty good. The whole fight between Krakoa and the planet Mars one, and everything that happened. It was some great writing in the very beginning. I loved it, and it just kind of fizzled out. Like most comics do nowadays, they never get wrapped up in a tiny bowl. Everybody yawn with me. They never get wrapped up in a tiny bow. So it's going to continue, and we're going to go back into the 1980s and Captain Marvel and the Brood. Not a fan of this rehashing of an old tale. I feel like this is just something to throw in there until we get to the point where we get the Sinister War. I'll read this to you guys. So there's going to be a new crossover coming between Captain Marvel and X-Men. Captain Marvel sends out she gets a distress call. She goes out into space like Captain Marvel normally does. And it turns out she's being set up by the Brood. And if you guys don't remember the Brood or the Brood, back in Cockrum, was it Dave Cockrum this was Claremont and not John Byrne. Was it Cockrum? Yeah, Chris Claremont, Dave Cockrum, and Paul Smith. They had the Brood saga, which was great in X-Men back at the time. You have your dynamic between Rogue and Captain Marvel, and then you have that a bunch of great storylines. Well, they're thinking they're going to go back and rehash that whole thing that happened. I'm tired of Captain Marvel. I'll be honest. I like Kelly Thompson. She writes well, but I don't know what it is. I'm tired of Captain Marvel. I don't want to see it. I wish we could have done more with what they were setting up in that last story arc. It was coming out so well, and it was becoming the X-Men that I want. I feel like it's just so convoluted still, and I just want good villains. I want good storylines. I want storylines that last a long time and end well. I don't need all these crossovers. I don't need all these big epics. And X-Men, I just feel when they give us that little small amount, right? They just give us that tiny bit of something good. We all jump in and we're all so excited, and they never, it's like they've got Donny Cates syndrome. They can just
they
never
stick the landing.
Yeah, exactly. It's so we'll see what happens. I could care less about the Brood right now, but they might change. That might change. It might be really good. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to always read X-Men and stay update on what's going on in X-Men because I love it. I love the X-Men so much. But man, we all thought Hickman was going to be our savior, and he kind of shit the bed too. And now he's kind of just overseeing the X-Men stuff. This is going to be written, of course, by Kelly Thompson, who is writing on Captain Marvel already. And Gary Dugan will do the X-Men stuff. So you were going to have Captain Marvel out in space again fighting the Brood, and this time she's going to have some X-Men with her, including Rogue, which will be cool. That could set up something interesting. Gambit, maybe a little triangle. Wolverine is interesting too in space, so we'll see that. But of course, what everybody's looking forward to is the Rogue and Captain Marvel thing, I imagine, and their duality, how important they are to each other's origin and everything. So we'll see what happens. Are you guys gonna read it?
Most likely, no.
Yeah.
I've gone on record plenty of times. I'm more of an Avengers than an X-Men person. I might pick it up and give it a read just to see, how it goes. But like you, I'm not a huge Miss Marvel fan. I know a lot of people were big fans of that, and I did pick up the last ones in trade and thought it was okay, but I'm not a big fan of either of these, but I do like Jerry Duggan, especially his old
Jerry
Deadpool
Duggan,
stuff.
yeah. Is it Jerry or Gary? I always say
don't know.
Yeah.
the G is soft. Don't listen to me with names because I say all people's names wrong.
Yeah, when it's Gary, it's Gary, and then Gerry. It feels like it should be Jerry. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like Key and Peele over here with AA Ron.
Delake.
What about you, Ryan? RYLN?
I don't know much about it. I just kind of,
it's not Venom. He's out.
Yeah.
I mean, I always loved, I think my second favorite character was Wolverine all the time. I mean, who didn't grow up going shink, shink? And I used to draw his claws and most exaggerated claws I could. But when I had an opportunity when I was doing Venom, I was looking for something new to watch or read. And I thought about reading X-Men, but it didn't. There's just like it didn't seem like there's anything that pops off. Like Brian said, like something that pops off on it that you're like, man, I want to check that out. Like what's going on crazy there? It was a really cool idea whenever I was younger, but there's something fresh or something it feels a little stale, I guess. And so I would love to have if it was a really good, maybe even crossover, something that was really just kind of fresh and new. That it's hard to do, and it's like music. It's hard to find something or original all the time. But it's. I'm really looking forward to the movie or when they do it with the MCU, and maybe that will ignite it all. But
well, interesting part is every cover will have a huge, massive connecting cover. If you want to share my screen, yeah. You guys can see connecting cover variants for the whole thing.
And it's not Mark Brooks?
No, it's not. Damn it. And it should be. So that's one of them. Hold on, let's go find the other one. I gotta go back. And here's another one. This one's interesting though, because I love how they've got the skulls on their faces like that. You see, and how she's holding it like that. It makes me wonder if they're wearing the skulls on their faces because they can't be, seen if they wear the skulls, like if you, put mud all around you and the predator's looking for you, you can't be, that type of
I'm here. Kill me.
But I thought that was
like all crazy.
What's that? He always looks like that.
It's kind of odd to me.
I mean, if you look at
Nice
her
fruit.
left hand, it's almost like she's been taken over.
No, it looks like she's got like
Looking at his claws, the claws.
her claws on him. But you're right, she could be taken over. But why would she be holding the? You're right. You're definitely right. Why is she holding the thing like that though? Maybe
Almost like
she's being taken over too.
She got a headache.
You're right there. You're right, Andy. Maybe.
I haven't read any of the original Brood stuff or anything like that back in the day, and I'm wondering if it's somebody, if these creatures infect people much like aliens from the Alien series. I wonder. I'm not the biggest X-Men knowledgeable person, but
I don't know if
Yeah,
y'all
it
read
says,
any of that.
upcoming issues will both series will have a giant connecting cover by Juan Frigeri and will run on Captain Marvel 46 through 48, X-Men 19 through 21, and it will conclude in Captain Marvel 49, where both stories will converge in a galaxy-changing finale. A lot of people are saying that somebody big is going to die and something is going to happen where this causes a big change in Carol Danvers. So Jerry Duggan, thank you, Josh. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm always like, I just say it real fast so people can't tell when I mess up.
How you met
Jerry Duggan.
over here?
Yeah,
So
he's the one that made Deadpool the way Deadpool is.
yeah.
Have y'all speaking? Y'all just mentioned the alien stuff. Have you read the newer one of that? It was like the first series that came out, and now they're on to a new series. The new series is pretty good.
I read the first series. You and I've talked a little bit about it, but you said the second series has been way better.
It's way better.
Yeah, I got Three Rivers Comics in the chat. Also, has been talking about what if they swap out some of that with aliens or maybe Predator.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Hear the Brood, sporting anti-swastika tattoos.
Yeah.
Oi, oi. That's what I keep thinking every time you say it.
Yeah.
You know what that's from? I brought Brian McClay does.
Old school fucking punk song.
Yeah, it's a No Effects.
Yeah.
We're the Brood, sporting anti-swastika tattoos. Oi, oi.
It's like if you punk band, you had to have X in your name. No effects, MXPX.
Yeah.
They're the original though. You can't.
Anyways,
The OGs.
Ryan, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, we were doing a lot of nostalgia things, with McClay talking about his love for the X-Men and whatnot. And you went to Disneyland, you go there all the time, and I'm just making this segue.
Disney World, bro. Disneyland's in California.
I don't know. I've never been to either one. Let me tell you a quick story about that. I was supposed to go as a kid. My sister and I we had like a little jar set up, and we were saving all of our money. And my parents made like this thermometer thing. And every time we save a little more, it kind of.
That was called Electric Boogaloo, bro. They were saving miracles.
Yeah. The thermometer would go up, up, up. And we were so close, right to the top. And one day we're like, hey, what happened to that jar of money? We're supposed to go to Disney World or Disneyland, whatever. Well, they're like, oh, yeah, we had to eat. So, sorry, no trip.
First time I ever went was our actual honeymoon. And that was even kind of a fluke because we were just going to stay in DC for a night. But that also happened to be around the inauguration time of one Mr. President Barack Obama. So it was like hotel prices went up. Well, I found a deal for like plane tickets and tickets to Disney for like super cheap. So went, and I had no idea what I was getting into. And
yeah, they'll probably use
4 parks in 2 days was a little rough to do. But
they'll save money to take me, and then they'll be like, oh, we're going to use it to buy this rare comic book, I believe. So I was wondering what had happened was, if you could go back in time and you could save one collectible from any time in your history, what would that one collectible? It has to be back in time. It has to be like from back in the day. But you can save one collectible, book, toy, whatever it might be.
Is it something you've had to own previously or that you're aware of?
You had to own.
Easy. Kenner, Star Wars, Ewok Village.
Kenner,
Good
Star
one.
Wars.
That was
was
like one of my favorite toys as a kid.
Yeah, the little
And
trap.
Yeah, between that and I mean, you could say the Yoda one also, right, with the freaking
Yeah.
sponge that just
And you
deteriorated
would
out.
know, and you would
Yeah.
know then, like you'd go back and program yourself to know to keep it in just the right spot, right
Yeah.
shape too.
I actually liked my Ewok village more than I liked my original Millennium Falcon. Just
And in
because
chat, you want to know which I would save.
Mine
Millennium Falcon, really?
is mine is I would want a something
You
that
had to
I've
own it though.
Okay. I would want my unopened Snake Eyes version 2 with Timberwolf unopened. I want because I had one unopened that I opened later on. And I wish I never opened it.
yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
We
Did you play
knew
with the
then
Kendrick?
what we know now, right?
Yeah. I remember, dude, at one time I was like, I think I was like 14 or 15. And maybe I was 13 or 14. And I found my mom had hid a bunch of G.I. Joes when I was a kid and forgot that she had hid them above the fridge. And I saw them and I pulled them out. I was like, oh, I got to open these and play with them, And I opened them and play. And they were the original 5 Joes, dude. And I was like, Rock and Roll, Stalker, all those guys. And I fucking opened them, dude, and played with them. Like, as a teenager, like, oh, man, this is fun. Look how cool. Set them up, and stuff. Oh, God.
If you could only go back, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we heard McClay. We've heard the big B up here. What about the big beard?
Dude, seriously, I don't
Rainbow
care
Bright.
I don't care how beat up it was, but I want that original Alpha Black Lotus from the lunchroom table from grade school when we used to play from Magic the Gathering. That original Black Lotus that you table thump that down in the middle of everybody. I'd be like, bow! And even back then, when it was first out, everybody knew how serious you were and what you had going down. We never knew that was going to be a multi tens of thousands of dollars card. And I'm pretty sure that thing got ripped up and thrown away someday in anger by another one of our friends that was playing and got sick of that shit getting dropped. But that's one of the greatest memories ever, was being able to just trade. The card got traded between 4 or 5 or 6 of us occasionally over the years, where we would trade back and forth, be like, no, it's my turn to get that back. And it was like that one card got shared around more than some other things that we won't mention. And that memory, if we could just have that card back and keep that was epic.
You might be able to get in that 30th anniversary set, the reprint.
It's just not the same. It's just not the same, man. It's just not the same. The paper's not the same.
I think for me, the one thing that I had that I wish it brings back so much joy to think about it, and it's so you don't find it around that often anymore. I mean, you can, but I remember like taking it out of the styrofoam, and I was just surprised. My mom just went to the store with my mom. She took us out. I didn't know why we were going to the store at night. They had already planned to let us pick something, and my sister picked a Cabbage Patch doll. That was lame. But I picked Optimus Prime, like the very first Optimus Prime. And I just thought it was just my mom. Like I brought it home. I just sat there and looked at it. She's like, "Are you going to play with it? Are you going to open it?" And I was like, "I just want to look at it for a little bit." I just looked at it and I was like, "I can't believe it's here in my house." I couldn't believe it was there in my house. And I remember it's like taking it, even though, you don't even think about not opening it. But like sliding out a little squeaky like styrofoam as you're pulling it out. It had the little clear front, and it's like shaking, little plastic goes in and pulling it out of that styrofoam, little white balls coming out, and you had like little decals you put on the bed. Man, I was just like, I just remember the smell of it. It was just like so awesome. It just felt so cool, like the size of it and everything. I just thought it was just completely awesome.
I remember one year for my birthday, my parents woke me up and they say, okay, your present is you have a present in each one of these. We had 2 hall closets that were right next to each other, right as you walked in the house. And like, okay, you have a present in each one, but you only get to pick one door, and then we'll give you the other one at Christmas. And so I opened one door, and it was a Cobra Rattler. And I remember, I mean, to this day, that's my favorite all-time G.I. Joe vehicle. And I remember pulling out that box out of that fucking, closet. I remember the smell of the closet. I remember like it comes back to me right now. It's such a bright memory in my mind, you know, and putting that Rattler together and putting those decals on it, like you said, and if switching out the different types of battle damage panels, and you know, like, oh man, it was such a great feeling as a kid to have it, it just instantly. That's why nostalgia is so important as an adult,
I
because
have
it
the opposite. Like it like totally deflated me. Is went to my grandmother's house to open Christmas gifts, and I was a huge Jabba the Hutt fan, and it was like the Jabba the Hutt toy, right, with the sit on the
yeah,
stupid thing. We actually had to move Jabba out and open the side doors with
open
the little
side
stupid
door.
fake pit. But I was so excited to get that. And my grandmother goes, "Oh no, that's not for you. That's for your brother." And she gave
Oh
me like which is cooler now, but she gave me the Scout Trooper with the little speeder
yeah,
that had the little button
blows
you
up.
could hit, push it, and it'd like break apart. But I
Yeah.
was so pissed off, and like to this day, I just remember being so like dejected. Like, damn, that I wanted that.
We were we were real poor when we were growing up. We didn't have a lot of extra expenditures and whatnot. So the fact that we got that, it was, I just remember like thinking like, man, that was the greatest, I think the greatest toy I had ever gotten. It was so great at the time. It was such a surprise because we would go to the stores, we didn't think about getting toys because it just wasn't going to happen. And for her to go pick whatever you want, and I was
You're
just like,
lucky enough if you got Silly Putty.
yeah. And then so working on the mask, masks were awesome. I loved that stuff. I jam those all the time too. I love those. They came right around the same time as Transformers was. I kind of combined them too and all the jazz. It was fun.
I got a funny story about Optimus Prime. That's the opposite of yours, like being so stoked. I found Optimus Prime. I went snooping as a kid before Christmas and went in my parents' closet and found that they had Optimus Prime in there. And I couldn't wait till Christmas, and I messed up and I said, "Mom, Dad, can I have that now? I know it's in there." I snooped. They go, they go, they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, let's go get it." They pulled it out, and my mom and dad took me back to the store with them and gave it back to the store, and I never got Optimus Prime. That was my lesson, not to snoop.
Dude.
Yeah, well, not to snoop, but don't admit you snooped.
Don't admit to it. Exactly. Yeah.
It's weird because I love, like, even now, like, you could put something that's a gift of mine, and I love waiting to the very last minute to open it. I don't know why, but that's crazy. I would be so destroyed if that happened to me. That must have crushed you as a kid.
Oh, it did. It did, but it taught me a lesson. You want to know what, dude? I don't have kids, but whenever I hear stories or I remember those stories as a kid, those were the most important. I worked with a guy. He was an engineer I worked with in the space and defense world I was in, and he was a dick. He was the biggest dick, right? But I remember one year he was telling me a story at Christmas time, and he's like, "Yeah, I got to go out of town for some work thing, and you know, my kids are going to have to stay with grandma." And I told them, you know, they need to be good for grandma until I get back, or Santa won't come. And I go, man, that's putting a lot on your kids. And sure enough, when he came back from the trip, I go, how were your kids? And they go, terrible. My boy was great. My little girl, she was horrible. And I had to call her and tell her, you know, Santa's not going to come if you continue doing this. I go, what are you going to do? He goes, Santa's not coming for her, man. I'm taking back all her gifts. Her brother's going to get gifts, and she's getting coal. And I go, no way you're going to do that. And sure enough, he did, dude. And he goes, it broke my heart. It crushed me. But after about an hour and a half of her, she realized what she did, and she, you know, played with her brother's toys. And I thought, dude, that is going to be one of the best things that you're ever going to do for your daughter, is because
Yeah.
if you don't do that, then she'll never listen to you again, man. I remember the first time my parents, when I was in a store with them as a little kid, and instead of saying, no, you can't have this, the first time they took it off the peg and handed it to me, and I knew that I could complain about something in the store, and then they would give it to me. Every store we went into, I would complain, right? And cry, I want it, I want it. And because they showed me that's how I get it, right? And that there's no consequences. Man, even though he was a dick and I couldn't stand him, I had so much respect for him right at that moment. I was like, dude, that's a good parent. That's a
It's
good
tough.
parent.
I've had only like a couple moments like that thus far with my little ones. one of them was recently, and it's tough, man. It's tough, like to see them like they're the way they, but in the back of your head, you're like, that you're teaching a lesson that's going to propel, and it'll be remembered.
Yeah, that shit is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we need to have one of these type topics like around Christmas time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
we'll put a pen in that and come up with a great topic. Christmas, we're probably dress up again, hopefully. Most of us at least. But tomorrow's New Comic Book Day, fellas. When I first started looking at the comics, I was like, man, there's not that much coming out. But then when I started getting, especially towards the indie books and stuff, I actually found quite a few books that I'm interested in picking up this week. But I will digress. And I know Andy and Brian,
brother,
have some great Star Wars books to talk about.
Brother, this is my biggest pull list tomorrow that I've had in like 4 months.
Well, Andy, me and you, let's start with the Star Wars then. Let's start off with Star Wars Hidden Empire. I really love this cover right here, obviously because of the Royal Guard, my favorite, next to Darth Vader, my favorite characters in Star Wars. That is such a cool image. So
I totally ripped them off of Beastmaster.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I guess. It's a 1 in 25 Lopez destination variant, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I will say, where's the Torrin Clark with this one? There's no Torrin Clark with this one because I'm collecting all the Torrin Clark ones.
Like the movie poster looking ones.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm not sure why why they did a battle variant here. Like down at the bottom is the battle variant. There's the 1 in 50. Now blow that up. That looks really good.
Yeah, it's Art Adams. It's excellent. That, of course, is going to be the big book of the week. We all know that. That's obvious. But the regular, this one, I don't know if this is a retailer exclusive or not, but it's a Mayhew version with he's got the robotic legs. That's awesome right there, too.
Yep, and the Geist or the Gist is, I believe, also a retailer exclusive because Marvel doesn't do Virgin variants.
We need to figure out how to say this guy's name because everyone always say two names whenever we come to him.
Yeah. But my favorite part is if the 1 in 50 is the book of the week.
Yeah, we need Joshua to go watch an interview with that guy.
And we know what's been happening with the comic book market. I'm telling you right now, that 1 in 50, I'm scoring that for $30 tomorrow. Well under ratio.
Yeah, nice. If they have any extras, pick me up one. That's very, very good, dude. But that being said, I still love the Torrin Clark versions. Here's the Han Solo and Chewbacca, Torrin Clark, Revelation.
Carbonite in the background's awesome.
It is. This is like, I'm so glad they have Torrin Clark doing the Revelations variant because I'm gonna collect them all. I already got the first two. The A cover's okay. They have it's called a fairy variant. It's got Greedo, which is interesting. But the other Revelations variant.
Yes.
Dr. Aphra 26. Oh yeah, they're all good. They're excellent.
What I really like about this one also, not only is it a stellar Aphra cover, but you also get Magna, the pronunciation always kills me, Magna Tolvan, Aphra's love interest, gets a cover appearance on here.
That's a cool cover right there too.
Yeah, I feel like Gem.
Yeah. And then there's the main cover, which is decent. So yeah, a lot of really good Star Wars covers this week, that's for sure. What else you getting?
The Star Wars stuff, and Something is Killing the Children is back, and we might as well change that one into being called Something is Killing the Wallet, because that's got a plethora of variants for issue 26 now. Sorry.
I love the Maleev. The Alex
Maleev.
Look
at the 1 in 25. Jesus. Ugh. That's scary, man. Here's the Frizen. Do I like the Frizen? No.
The Maleev, man.
Where's the Maleev?
Middle.
Right there?
Yeah.
The 1 in 100. And why we're doing 1 in 100s on issue 26 is still... Boom's still getting sales based off it, so they're going to keep doing it.
That's a cool cover, too.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. Wraparound variant. And this character right here is creepy. And
this will be the series that I get completely caught up on tonight and tomorrow. That and I'll probably pick one of the 3 Star Wars series to make sure I'm caught up on tomorrow for my show.
There's a couple other books that I'm looking for. This is interesting. Planet Comics number 12. I just really like that cover. This cover really is just something about it.
Hal Aaron? It looks like Hal Aaron.
It does. It's badass. It's awesome. I don't know what's going on there. It is Hal Larson. You're correct. So
Yeah, I think they misspelled that name.
is it Laren?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's badass, man. It's really good. And then I like the Frizen I Hate Fairyland cover. This is the cover G. I really like it for something. There's something about it.
The Art Germ one's actually not bad for that.
You know what is my second favorite is this one, the Bird City Comics variant, because it's got the awesome mushrooms in it. So I'm gonna get some of those. Yeah. And then I really like this Immortal X-Men A cover. Immortal X-Men 8.
That reminds me of the old DC steampunk covers.
Yep.
There's some cool X-Men covers.
This is Mark Brooks, of course, one of the best cover artists ever. And amazing. He's a great X-Men cover artist, of course. And then finally, I love this cover. This is the Lyrics Ultraviolet cover for FOC for a book called The 90s. I just love that. I love the coloring on it. I love the everything about it. So I'm gonna try and find one of those. And yeah, that's everything I'm looking at.
What about you, Ryan?
I'm looking. There's nothing that's popping out at me that I'm gonna partake in. It's a good week for me to let my wallet cool its jets just a bit.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Jeff Johns, Gary Frank from Image Comics. You got that Junkyard Joe, the #1 second print, and #2.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Image, if you like the Geiger. Plus, it's war horror. Goes back towards Vietnam.
Hey, do you end up getting a couple of those that metal book?
Yeah, I did. I got all covers. I had them, or it got put on delay. They delayed it till this last week, and I got all of the connecting covers.
I need to get that. So, if anyone has some up there that you're willing to sell this guy, let me know. Did you read it?
No, not yet. I'm picking them up tomorrow. They just came in. He had to put in a special order for them because they got delayed.
Yeah, and then cover pick also another Alex Maleev cover, that Captain America Winter Soldier one shot. There's an Alex Maleev cover for that I really like.
Blade.
Ooh, yeah, that's badass.
It's regular price, but
Winter Soldier's such a great character, man.
And then another niche collection for me, the Bill and Ted's Day Off #1 has a photo variant of George Carlin.
Oh, no shit.
Day of the Dead. Sorry, I was way off.
That's a cool cover to begin with, that one. Very cool. And there's the George Carlin memorial variant. That's awesome. Man, all these covers are great. Look how colorful they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really good.
And then similar to your 90s, there's Artist Elite Presents #4. It's got like a bunch of like Tyler Kirkham, I believe, a couple others, but there's a Al Garza variant for that.
I can't find it. What is it?
It's Artist Elite Presents.
It's not.
And that's here. That's also listed them as publishing. It was on Midtown. Of course, I might have wrote down wrong. That Atonement Bell looks pretty cool too.
This one,
the Red 5 Comics.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came out. I need some new boxes. So I'm hoping they'll come out with some boxes soon.
So,
where are the boxes on this thing on previews? I don't know.
What are you talking about? Like it wants to have the pictures on it and shit?
Yeah, the graphics.
Good question.
They've seen it. They've been coming out with boxes like crazy, but I'd like to try to find like one that I want because I do try to get graphic ones for my collection. I need some bad.
Look at this Del Auto 1 in 25.
Yeah, somebody else was talking about that a few days ago. No, that was you this past Saturday. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I had this original run of like his first solo series.
All these covers are actually pretty decent.
I was trying to move it for a long period of time. No one wanted to jump on it. Now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just let it marinate there.
Yeah, all these are nice, except for the main cover's okay. Everything but the main cover I like.
They have to make him look like Wesley.
McClay, I just put the link in the private chat for that.
All right. Oh, wow.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah, I thought that cover was cool. It's kind of like Campbell, Paul Green, John Royale looking. Also kind of gives me a little Dragon's Lair type feel. But
I want to see the rest of them. Won't let me click on them. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Huh. It's Kirkham. Yeah, a lot of good covers on this.
It's called Artist
I haven't
Elite.
heard of Artist Elite Publishing. Is that
Neither have I.
And there's a whole bunch of later printings from the Merc Publishing comics.
I'm gonna have the guy who owns Merc Publishing on. I think it's the Comics Elite guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Sean.
Yeah, Sean Hudoku. Is that
Yeah, Sean's cool. I know Sean pretty good.
So yeah, I mean, it turned out to be a pretty decent new comic book day tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, that's for sure.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm like, I don't know.
And I want to thank
cool.
Joshua Beckner in the chat for helping us with our Hooked on Phonics for comic book names.
Yeah.
But
it's Gist, yep. Gist. He put out a Instagram a while back of him saying how to say it.
Yeah. So that's just
And
gonna leave us
David
with
Aja, not Aha.
Oh yeah. I apologize. I mess up everyone's names.
So do I. I hate it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mr. On Die, that's just gonna leave us with one more thing. Comic. What is that for, Sandy?
Wow. Speaking of butts, hey, we're ramping up content over on the Comic Man Andy YouTube channel. We just dropped a CGC unboxing yesterday live that we had a blast with. Kind of talked about what Star Wars books to grade, what modern Star Wars books we're looking at grading. We're also back every week with new Comic Book Day Wednesdays. That's tomorrow. It just got scheduled. That's up, ready to go. Like we said, there's more content coming down the pipeline. I'm excited. Hope everybody is able to make it out, at least on the replay. Please, I appreciate any and all support. If people can pop over there, throw a thumbs up, and we'll get those numbers back to where we were and have a blast nonetheless, because it's going to be fun talking about comic books.
Sweet. We have Mick Lay.
Did I talk about you talked about early in the show about me, my feelings on how Topps was handling stuff and how I felt about my case. Did I talk about what I pulled out of that case?
Yes, you did.
I'll talk about it again.
Talk about it some more.
Yeah, it doesn't gonna hurt. I mean, I would be talking about it too.
So I opened the
Why
whole
aren't you
case.
wearing gloves?
I know, right? So I got told if I would have recorded me opening this would have been on that top 10 pulls of the week. That channel that does the top 10 pulls of the week. that this would have been one of the biggest pulls of the week. So,
I thought you did record opening it.
no, Richie recorded opening his, and he pulled a blue last week. He pulled a blue auto, which that is a 150. I recorded it, but I didn't record it pulling it from the pack. I put the pack down and then went card by card, but because they didn't show me pulling it from the pack. So, but anyways, so yeah, I was pretty stoked about that. But yeah, I had a big sale, McFarland sale on Saturday, so I'm going to be doing some packing for those. And I got another big sale coming. So just go follow my Whatnot account. Come check me out on IG, which is right there. And check my link in the bio. And we got a bunch of big sales coming up because I've got some cool things to buy that I need to buy. So these back here are both for sale. If you didn't get your McFarland signed, if you didn't send anything off to McFarland to get signed, well, don't worry. It's already available for you, and you don't have to pay the $120 to have it signed. So,
is that a McFarland CBCS book? Oh, you got it verified.
Yeah, I got it verified.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then this is CGC. This is like $1,000 book, and it's available for sale.
I thought CBCS was gonna do yellow labels for verified still.
They do. This was
okay.
So I got this signed at a con here in Phoenix, and then I sent it to CBCS to verify. So they weren't there. They didn't witness it. It's red label.
I was about to be like, wait a minute. I thought McFarland was exclusive to CGC, but makes sense to me now.
And then here's a 7.5 ASM 300 that's signed. If anybody's looking to get that. And the very first time he ever did Spider-Man signed, Amazing Spider-Man 298. So
nice.
They are available for sale. Hit me up if you're looking. What grade is that 301? It is a 9.0.
What you got, Ryan?
How much is the card worth? Says Cantankerous. That card is worth $8,000 to $10,000.
Yeah.
So when you pulled?
Yeah.
Holy
look at his face.
Yeah. That's why I went crazy when I pulled it, bro. I mean, I spent $3,600 on that case, and I thought it was a bust. And when I pulled it, I was like,
yeah. Now, I'm my one thing. I'm not going to even say it no more.
That's one awesome. More thing. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Good on you. Well, I don't have anything near that size, guys. But I am too.
I'll be right back, guys. I'll catch you after the show. I'll be right back. I got to go grab something real quick.
I'm going to be moving some of my card inventory as well. So you can find me on Rhinoverse. I got mine's all football stuff, but I got a lot of cool things. Your zebra cards, and here's a zebra of of Jamar Chase. Here's a gold of Jamar Chase, and Kenny Pickett signed Olave. So just a bunch of different stuff that I have. I have a lot of inventory, and if it's not Falcons, it's all being moved. So I have a lot of all the, just I have a bunch of this stuff. So just let me know. Keep an eye on Rhinoverse.com, Rhinoverse on Facebook and or on Instagram. I do have a Whatnot, but I will probably be posting things. Everyone on the stream gets first crack at it. So if you collect something, let me know, and I'll see if I have what I have of that person, and then it'll be free for all.
Sweet. My one more thing. First of all, I want to say we were out last week because I was in Disney World, but we kind of mentioned it before. I want to mention again, happy Veterans Day to all the military veterans. Happy Marine Corps birthday, of course, hoorah. But one of my favorite charities this time of year is always supporting Toys for Tots, Marine Corps Reserves. They do a lot of great stuff. So I will be kind of like everyone else. I'm going to start putting some books together and then put them up for sale. And I'm going to do the proceeds for those sales to donate to Toys for Tots. There'll be more information to follow on that. Haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet. I might just list a special collection up on the website where I sell comics. But I also wanted to end the show with, I know we're ending the holiday times, Thanksgiving, Christmas, a lot of great times coming up, a lot of great family, but it's also a lot of times where stress, anxiety, and everything gets to a lot of people. And unfortunately, sometimes it's a lot of depression that goes on. So I do want to let people know, if you need someone to talk to, feel free to reach out to any of us. Also, you can text home to 741-741, which is a crisis hotline. Always don't feel like you don't have anyone to talk to. Just want to put that out to you guys. That goes for anyone here, anyone watching, anyone on the replay. Holidays is a great time, but it can also be a bad time. So everyone's here for each other. One great community. And with that, we will see you guys next week.
Look. They talking like they don't know a king when they see one. See him in person, he take it back like a refund. Ballin' with my brothers on my playing D1. Daily checking chicken, he gon' spin it watching reruns. Say they real, but they clones of me.